Ricky Bobby, what's going on? All right, guys. Hope everyone is doing well today. Today's stream, we are going to go over flying ILS procedures, guys. This should not be a super long lesson, but nonetheless still an important one to understand, especially when it comes to flying ILS procedures. So we are going to use the standard airport I like to because I fly at Real World, and that's Ocean County, Mike Juliet X-Ray. And we're going to be talking about, obviously, flying ILS procedures. So what is an ILS procedure, right? So an ILS procedure is an instrument landing system, instrument approach procedure, which essentially allows to provide you a precision approach, which means that it's giving both lateral and vertical guidance down to what are called minimums. Now, we'll discuss what minimums are and how to classify what your minimums are. So let's first off take a look at the chart itself. So we're here at Toms River, New Jersey, Ocean County Airport. All right, and this is a Jeppesen chart, which is provided through Navigraph. And you can see there's a bunch of information here, right? So the main stuff you guys need to read when you're dissecting a... Hold on one second. When you're dissecting a chart like this, there's a lot of information, right? You know, just read it from top to bottom. It's going to give you all the information you really need to know. So you can see up here the AWOS, which is the Automated Weather Observation System. So if you need to pull the weather from Ocean County because it's a uncontrolled field, you can get it here. And Ricky Bobby, I hope everything's all right with your family. 19875, that's the frequency. McGuire Approach, which is radar, which is the radar controller, essentially, the TRACON controller, 126.475. And then Ocean County Unicom and the CTAF frequency is 122.7. So those are the frequencies you need to know. In this case, we're not going to be talking to McGuire Approach for this. We're going to fly the procedure on our own. All right, we take a look here. We look at LOC. LOC is short for localizer, which essentially is providing your lateral guidance down to the airport. And that frequency is 109.9, right? So that's first thing you need to know. That's your localizer frequency. Then you have your final approach course, which is the exact course that you're going to be flying, and obviously adjusting for wind correction, which is 06 tree. Then you have the outer marker here, which is Zomev, and that is 1,600 feet MSL. And then ILS decision altitude conditional is 331. Airport elevation is 81. Touchdown zone is 81 as well. Then you have underneath that your missed approach procedure. Provided that you get down to minimums and you don't see the airport, or the runway in sight rather, at that point you have to execute what's called missed approach. So if you got down to those minimums, which are right here, 331 MSL, so 331 feet, which is 250 feet above the ground, what you would do is you'd climb to 600 feet, then you would start a right turn to 1,900 feet direct to the coil VOR, and then on the coil VOR radial 260 to SOIDI, which is 2.6 DME, and hold. So essentially, you can see exactly how this goes. So on the missed approach, you're going to fly out, you're going to get 600 feet, and then you're going to start your right turn. Then you're going to go to coil. And then you're going to depart coil on a 260, and then you're going to hold. Now you can see this little oval here is your holding pattern. And you can see that you're actually going in the opposite direction of the holding pattern when you're going back to SOIDI. So you need to execute the correct entry. In this case, there are 3 types of entries when it comes to holds. And that would be direct, teardrop, and parallel. You can do either a parallel or teardrop entry. In this case, I'm going to execute a teardrop entry, which is roughly 30 degrees off the 260, so a 290. And then what I'll do is I'll come back in this way, inbound on the 080 to SOIDI, and then I'll hold. And then I'll just keep holding and until I know my next intentions. Now, if I want to just immediately go back and shoot the approach again, I can. This is where we're going to start talking about the approach itself. So we're not going to use GPS for this. We're strictly going to use our instruments, our VOR, and our ILS. All right? And the way that works... Princess, what are you doing? Stop scratching. So what we're going to do here is when we come in, we're going to depart off runway 24 here, guys. All right, we're going to be going out this way, and then I'm going to navigate to the coil VOR. And then at this point, I'm going to start the procedure to actually fly this approach. So I come in, and then I'm going to shoot the approach all the way down to the airport. It's going to be that simple. Now, without using GPS and knowing where SOIDI is, there's only one way for me to know that I'm at SOIDI. Truly, if I don't have DME. And the only way to do that, this is SOIDI right here. The only way to do that is to use my second VOR instrument off of the McGuire VOR. So this is the 169 radial off the McGuire VOR. And you will see here that you're going to be flying the 260 radial outbound from coil. So essentially, if you hop into the cockpit here, what's going to happen is we're going to have this one here set to 260 outbound, right? So we'll just do this really quick. We'll have it set to roughly 260 outbound, and we'll see, as we did in another lesson, we'll see outbound. You'll see from, essentially. And then down here, I'm going to have McGuire tuned to 169. Now, what that's going to do for me is when this needle centers at 169, that is right about there. One more. Once both of these are centered, I know that I am at this point, SOIDI. Once I'm at SOIDI, I know that all I need to do is now fly outbound, 30 degrees off, so I'll turn 30 degrees right, to stay on the protected side of the hold. So, guys, what this is called, this is obviously a holding pattern right here. This is what's called the protected side. Protected. This is unprotected. So, always use protection, guys. That's what I always try to tell Everybody here, always use protection. So you want to fly on the protected side of the hold. And then once you enter into that hold, there are two types of ways to get into three, technically. If you're with ATC, they'll give you vectors straight to the final approach course. The second way is a hold in lieu of procedure turn, which is right here. So you can see that there's a hold right here, and that's hold in lieu of procedure turn. And then otherwise, on some other approach plates, you'll actually see an arrow that comes in. It'll typically look like this or something, and it'll say no PT. And it'll typically say no PT, which means no procedure turn is required. In this case, we need to hold in lieu of the procedure turn to enter the approach properly. Now, once we get to SOIDI back inbound 080, this 080 is going to be the 080 radial 2 coil. So obviously the reciprocal of 260 is 080. So what'll happen is we'll track coil inbound to the 080 radial, and we'll be tracking it till we hit SOIDI again. At that point, we're going to switch our instrument to the ILS approach localizer frequency, tune it to 063, and fly it inbound. Now, I know this is a lot. It's going to become a lot more clear once we're actually flying the approach. Now we look at our vertical profile here, and we can see 1 minute, which is a 1 minute hold. That's in reference to this right here. It says 1 minute. And typically that's standard when you're below, it's either 14,000 or 16,000 feet, 14,000 feet. So inbound timing for a standard hold is 1 minute when at or below 14,000 and 1.5 minutes when above 14,000. So in this case, we're going to be below that. So we're going to just have a 1 minute hold, and we should be 1 minute turn inbound. Inbound means 2. So we're on the inbound. This is the outbound. This is the inbound. So you can see it's going away and then coming in because the hold is over SOIDI. So you have 1 minute inbound at 1,900 feet. Once you hit SOIDI, you're cleared to descend to 1,600 feet to cross ZOMEV at 1,600 feet. At this point, you're going to start your approach down to the airport. You can see the crossing restrictions posted right here. Now, this is where your minimums come in, all right? And your minimums are 331. So I'm going to simulate this in regular weather, and then we're going to simulate it with weather down to minimums so you guys can see the difference. ILS is 331. So if you do not get the runway in sight by 331 feet, then you must go around. That's just the law. This is a localizer approach, so if the glide slope is out, because an ILS uses a localizer and a glide slope to provide that vertical and lateral guidance, a localizer approach is considered to be a non-precision approach. You can see that your decision heights, your MDAs are higher than an ILS because it's less precise. And then this is your visibility requirement, which is 3/4. Oh, mile. Oh, excuse me. So that's what this all means. Then you have a circle to land procedure. If you do not plan on landing on runway 6 here, which is what the approach is for, these are your circle to landing minimums with Zoker and without Zoker, which is right here. You can see your category aircraft max speed 190, 120. So we're in a 172. We'll do 120. Is 560 MDA with Zoker. Without Zoker, it's 660. 660, 1 mile. That's what the dash means. If you're using the local altimeter setting, which is Ocean County, so you'd pick that up via the automated weather observation. If you're using McGuire's altimeter, and you'll notice that the levels are higher because it's less accurate to the airport itself. Again, you have the same situation here, down here, where you see with McGuire Air Force Base altimeter setting, you can see it's slightly higher. With local altimeter setting, it's slightly lower. Over here is essentially your 3-degree glide slope, and it tells you exactly ZOMEV to MAP, and this will tell you the actual timing for everything. But we're not going to go into all of this. This is, we'll talk about this at another time. We're just trying to get your feet wet right now to explain what to expect. This is the instrument system, the lighting system you're going to be seeing. You're going to see a Mauser and a Pappy. You're then going to see 600. You're going to see this right here, these 4 boxes, is actually telling you the same thing as it is here. Missed approach procedure. Climb to 600, right turn 1900, direct coil. So after that, you can read here, direct coil VOR, then on coil VOR radial 260 to SOIDI, which is 2.6 DME coil and hold. All right. So we now understand that. So let's get into the cockpit here and just take off. I'm going to synchronize everything, get my DG all set. Okay. First thing I need to do is make sure I have coil tuned, which is 113.4. So we'll do this, and we'll do that, and we'll do that. Good. So we have that. Now, down here in the second VLOC, I'm going to have the McGuire VOR backed up so I can see when I'm at SOIDI. And to do that, all I'm going to do is tune in the McGuire VOR of 110.6. 110.6. Okay, perfect. Now, I have this all aligned already. I already programmed it that I know it's going to be the 169 radial, and we can check that here. 169 off McGuire, intercept SOIDI. Now up here, I just need to get to the coil VOR, guys. I don't need the 260 radial first. The 260 radial is here. I'm still at the airport. I just need to get to coil. So I'm just going to try to pick up the radial at this point. Zebra, welcome. Flying into events and AVF dies. Oh, that stinks. So guys, we're just going to take off here. I'll turn up the audio just a hair. Just a hair. All right. We'll just take off here. We're not on any networks here, guys. We're just flying. So just go full power. Knots. 55. Rotate. CJ, it's a Lewis script. I gotta remember what it's called. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can look it up for you and get you back. Professor Joe's back in session. That's right. All right. So at this point, guys, we're gonna climb up. I'm just gonna turn on the heading mode and the vertical speed mode to go 600 feet a minute. And that's good. We're going to go to 2,000 feet, guys. That's going to be our plane, all right? So we're on our way up here, on our way up to 2,000 feet. Now, what I need to do is, thank you, Michael. What I need to do is just pick up the VOR. So immediately I know that I'm northeast of the VOR, so I should probably pick up like I'm guessing 220 radial, something close to that. I'll probably come in. There it is. Okay, that is good enough for me. So we're just going to turn slightly left here to try to intercept this radial and stay on it. And this is going to get us to the coil VOR. And yes, I obviously could see just looking here, oh, okay, coil's right here, I can go that way. But we're going to use the instrument. We're going to use our 6-pack here, guys. Going to use our 6-pack with our navigation equipment. All right, we can see that our heading is roughly left. We're at like a 235 heading. The radial is a 235 heading, but it's slightly going off course, so we're just going to adjust 1 or 2 degrees. You know, nothing too dramatic. And we're going to climb up to 2,000 feet. So we're out of 1,300 for 2,000. We'll level off at 2,000 feet. All right, now, as we fly here, guys, and we're on our way to the coil VOR, we're here. You guys can see the moving map now. I'm tracking to the coil VOR. Once I hit the coil VOR, I'm going to depart at 260. That's going to be the next radial I tune, guys. So once I know that I'm at coil, guys, once I know I'm there, I'm going to tune 260. All right, we're about to reach 2,000 feet, so let's level off here. And we'll level off here at 2,000. Now I know the coil VOR is right here, guys, just looking outside. You know, when we do this the second go around, you guys will see. The wind correction stuff still trips you up. We'll go over it. I'll put the NDB on the list of things to do because I have to review that. I've never flown NDB navigation, so I have to actually review it and learn it myself. Okay, so we're coming in here. We are slightly right of course here. We'll just do a little adjustment here. Nothing too dramatic, guys, because we're getting very close to the station. So once we get to the station, per the chart, we're going to fly the 260 radial outbound to Soidi. All right? And we know that we'll be at Soidi because this needle will center because this is tuned to the McGuire VOR of 110.6 and the 260 radial, or the 169 radial. All right, we can see that this is getting super sensitive right now, which means that we're pretty much right overhead the station, which we are, the station over here. And we'll just stay the course at this point, right? We'll let this needle pin, and then at that point, guys, we are going to tune this to 260. We'll actually start our turn to 260. So this needle is pinning. There we go. There it is, completely pinned. There's the station right below us. You can see it right there. You'll see the flag flip. There it goes. We're going to turn to a 260 heading at this point. We're going to adjust the OBS to 260. 260. We're going to try to overshoot it slightly just so that we can no flips. And we're going to re-intercept this. Now, we have to look for this. We can actually see the radial coming in already, guys. Here it comes, it's coming in, and we haven't even reestablished on the 260 radial yet. Also because I have this firewall, that's why. All right, there comes the radial, coming back in here. And you guys can see both of the instruments moving here. So at this point, we're we are on the 169 radial almost, and we're actually almost re-intercepted on the 260 radial, right? So at this point, I can tell you, just looking at the chart, obviously, we're right overhead Soidi. Now what we're going to do is turn 30 degrees, which is 290 at this point, 30 degrees outbound out of Soidi for 1 minute. And the reason we're doing 1 minute, it's always 1 minute inbound, but I know that we have a zero we have 0 wind at this point, so it's nothing for me to be concerned about. I'm going to assume 1 minute outbound is going to be 1 minute inbound because there's no wind to fight with. So at this point, we're going to a little more power. And I'm not looking at instruments at this point, guys. I'm looking at my timer. Once I see 1 minute, I'm going to turn left to a 080 and track back inbound to coil, which will intercept Soity again. So we're going to actually get this to a 080 because we're going to need to track that. You can see we got 10 seconds left here, guys. And that's 1 minute. We're going to turn left now. I'm going to reset the clock. We're going to turn to a 080 and intercept it. Now, at this point, I'm looking for both of these to center once again, right? I'm looking to see this center, and I'm going to look for this to center. What is that going to tell me? Once that centers, I know I'm going to be at Soity again because I'm tracking to coil and I'm tracking the second VOR to Soity. You can see my rate of turn is very, very wide. So I most likely am going to go through the radial, which you guys are seeing right here. I'm going to go through it because my turn is taking too long, so I'm going to need to overshoot a little to correct. So we'll overshoot the 080 to recorrect because we're going through it right now, guys. In the turn, we're going to overshoot it, which is fine, no problem. We'll get back around. Again, I'm just letting the autopilot make the turns for me right now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to go into here and I'm going to put the ILS frequency, right? The localizer frequency, which is 109.9, guys. And that's what I need right now. So we're going to go this and we're going to go 109.9. and change that. Perfect. Now we are 120, we're one and a half minutes, so that didn't work out quite well. Also, I changed my power and my my turn rate. And we don't want to switch this just yet, guys. We still want coil because we haven't gotten there just yet. So we're trying to get that to center. We can see McGuire's coming back in. And we're gonna, you know, as this comes in, we're just gonna adjust. We don't want to go through it too far. And you guys can see that we are almost perfectly on Soity. Now, once we hit Soity, guys, obviously there's a lot going on at this point. I'm going to turn to a 063 heading right about when that centers. And we are about there. So we're going to now tune. We're going to now turn left to a 063 heading, and we're going to switch this to now the localizer and make sure that it's set to 063, which is the course of the approach. We can see we are right of course right now. We need to turn left. We have no glide slope yet. We're going to just keep looking at our instruments. We know that our minimums for this is going to be 372, and being that we are past Soity now, we can drop to 1,600 feet. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go vertical speed, and we're going to go down 500 feet. We're going to start the descent. And you can see that I'm just gently adjusting to get the localizer to center here. I'm no longer looking at this. I have my vertical and lateral guidance. My vertical has not come in. So we can see I'm coming down to 1,600, all the way down. Now, how do I know I'm at Zomev, which is the next fix, guys? How do I know I'm at Zomev? I'm going to tune the McGuire VOR to 141. Right? So we're going to tune this to 141. When that centers, I know I'm at Zomev. I just went through the localizer. I wasn't paying attention. Back through. So you guys got to be very careful when flying that you're always looking at the instruments. You don't want to go beyond 2 dots, guys. 2 dots indicates an unstable approach. All right, there it comes. It's coming back in. We're waiting for this to indicate that I'm actually over Zomev, which I do not have yet. I actually just blew minimums of my altitude restriction of Zomev at 1,600. So there's a lot going on, guys. You have to really be on top of it when you're doing this. So you have to know exactly what you're doing. So it looks like we're centering now. We're gonna just adjust, make sure we don't go through it again. Right about there, perfect. And Zomev is 1,600 feet. We'll just readjust here, just get where we need to be. And right about there. Hilariox, welcome. Perfect. Now, again, slightly off course, not too severe. But you can see McGuire VOR coming in on the 141 radial. We must be getting close to Zomev, guys. Are we getting close to Zomev? Yes, we are. We're just going to hang out here, guys. We'll start seeing this come in right here. We'll start seeing the vertical guidance come in. Turn left a little bit more to really get that needle centered. There she goes. We can see the glide slope is alive, guys. Glide slope's alive. We're not at Zomev yet. We're not there yet, so we still need to stay at 1,600. Once we're at Zomev, this theoretically should be centered. This horizontal bar should be centered as the glide slope, and then we're going to follow the glide slope down. There we go. We can see that we are getting centered. We can hear our marker. Well, I have the marker turned down. I think I have the marker turned down. Or I just have the marker off, which probably is because it was annoying me. But here it is, guys. We are now on glide slope. I'm going to take the autopilot away. I'm going to fly this in. Autopilot's now away. I'm not going to look outside, guys. I'm just going to stay on top of what I'm doing here. I'm going to look at my instruments. You can see that I'm slightly high on glide slope now because the bar is below. So we're going to just try to catch up to it a little bit here. We should have started our descent. We need to watch our heading, guys. Make sure that we are flying the proper headings as we're descending down. There we go. Beautiful. We'll do the first notch of flaps as well while we're at it and trim down a bit. You can see this is what we got to fight with, guys. We're just watching this one instrument, right? And our minimums are 331, right? So 331 are our minimums that we can go down to. We are high on glide slope right now, high on glide slope. I'm not looking outside purposely so that you guys can actually see, how to fly this, strictly looking at the instrument itself. So we're going to just keep flying it, and we'll adjust our pitch attitude as we need to just help assist with our rate of descent. You can see that I actually have enough power and I'm maintaining 80 knots on this. No, we're slightly left of course. We'll turn right back. That's fine. Not going to be an issue. We're looking for 331, guys. 331 is our ILS minimums. And we can see we're now below glide slope. We're going to pitch back up. We don't want to go below it more than a dot or two. There we go. There it comes. So we're going to add a little more power, slow them down a little bit. We're going to add some more power. We're just going to level off here. And we can see that we're roughly left of course here. We'll turn back there just to slightly adjust here. And now we're high on course. This is hard to do with the joystick, to be honest. It's hard to do real world as well. You really have to practice and get practice in. Now we have one notch of flaps. We're going to reduce the power here. Stay on the glide slope. You really have to constantly scan when you're flying these guys. Constantly be scanning. See, I'm about to lose the precision of this, so you really got to be careful. 331 we're looking for. We're about 200 to minimums, guys. 200 to minimums. Need to turn left a little bit. Need to go down a little bit. 331 to minimums is what we're looking for. And we look outside, and there's the runway. Technically, I should have gone around if I was IMC because I lost the actual path. But you guys can see, here's the runway right here. We'll dump the flaps in. Ignore the people that I have on the runway. That was something I was testing with the scenery. I did kill them. I did. So now what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna take off again, and we're actually going to do this approach, but we're gonna change the weather so that it's actual IMC. All right. We're going to make this low visibility, and I want this overcast cumulus to go. The base to be, we'll just call it 350. We'll call the tops 230. That's fine. That's good. Our visibility we're gonna set to 3 miles. We'll do 3 miles visibility. Actually, you know what? What's our visibility, Mims? 3/4. We'll do 1. There we go. Well, that is just shitty. Wait, do I have to change something? Oh, I have to change SkyMax. Hold on. That's better. Okay. All right. So here we go, guys. We have now changed the weather. It's now crappy, right? Let's get our flaps up here. Okay. We're going to do this procedure the same way. The VOR session was gold, and so is this one. Absolutely awesome. I'm glad it's helping. Those people had a bad day. I don't know why they were just standing on the runway, to be honest with you. So, guys, we're going to do this again, right? But now we're going to do the procedure as though we can't see outside. We've changed the weather so we can't see, all right? That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to just set this to roughly runway heading, which I'm facing, because I made them go there. That's right, I programmed them today. So that's what we're going to do, guys. We'll take off, and then we're going to reset our instruments here. We're going to set coil VOR back in there. We'll have to pick up the coil VOR. The McGuire VOR we don't need to touch just yet, but we're going to get in the air. So let's get that done now. We'll go full throttle, and we'll do this again. All right, positive rate of climb. You guys will see we're about to enter IMC. And the only thing that I see is my instruments at this point. I want to keep the attitude pitch up here, keep a positive rate of climb because of these trees. What I want to do is go heading mode, vertical speed mode, just tune this down to 600 feet. Okay, guys, I am about to enter IMC. We're roughly at 400 feet or so, and you guys can see I actually want to make this weather a little bit more dense. It's not as thick as I want it to be. Hold on. Let's do the level a little lower. Let's go 200. Let's see how that changes things, and then go to this. Okay, so definitely lower visibility, guys. We're definitely at a lower visibility point. Misogynist. We're climbing through 1,000 feet. I really don't like the fact that I can see below. I don't want you guys to be able to see. So we're gonna do low visibility, change this. It's down to like 199, maybe that'll help. Change the fizz to like, we'll do 1 mile. Yeah, close enough, whatever. All right, so we can't really see where we're going at this point, guys, as you can see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tune the coil VOR, which we're doing. we're just going to find a radial to intercept. We're going to start, well, we know we're going away from it, right? Because we're on a 060 and we know roughly that the coil VOR is behind us. So let's just turn right, and roughly get ourselves going towards the station itself. We don't know where it is, but we'll pick. As you can see, I can't. Exactly. So we'll just start turning here, and we're gonna start just going through the radials one by one. I like the 240 radial. We'll track the 240 radial. Now keep in mind we're still in the turn here, guys. So let's stabilize the turn first. You can see that we're going through it at this point. And I can always cheat and I can be like, oh, coils VOR's there, GPS, click, click, click. No. We're not gonna clickety click click the GPS. We're going to strictly look at our instruments to find out where we're going here. And again, we're just gonna climb 2,000 feet here, guys. 240. We're gonna shoot through the radial just a little bit so that we can adjust and intercept again. So we'll shoot like for a 250 roughly. So that's a 250 heading. And that'll roughly bring us where we need to be, because we're going to the station. You know, I'm impatient. I'm going to do a more intense angle. So we're IMC, guys. All you see is the beautiful clouds. I just want to adjust to level this at 2. Seems terrifying. You get used to it. It definitely can be terrifying, sure, but you know, once you practice it enough, it's not that bad. It's scary at first though, because if you look outside, you'll get disoriented very easily. So you guys can see here, we are straight tracking the radial at this point. At this point, we're just going to wait for the radial to indicate that we're actually over the station. There's nothing more for us to do. We'll pull the power back just a hair here. I'll keep it around there. Exactly. The trick is to never look outside, because you can get very disorientated very quickly. You never want to look outside, because clouds have textures, and if a cloud's like this, you would think you're in a bank, so you're going to turn, but you actually aren't in a bank. That's why your attitude indicator here is so important when flying IMC. All right. Just going to adjust again, try to get that radial back in there. And what we're going to do, guys, what's the first, someone tell me, what is the first radial off of McGuire GXU that I need to have tuned, and why? Smartass, we're good, man. .169 because it's nice. Nice. It is the 169 radial because it intercepts with what? Anybody? Intercepts with Soide intersection, which we need to know because that's nope, Soide intersection, because that's the hold in lieu. That's the hold over Soide, which we need to fly the hold in lieu of procedure turn. I know you did. So. Beautiful. Alrighty. Just adjust back to 240. We'll adjust as needed right now to see if, you know. Looks like we do need slightly a little bit of Nope, we don't need any wind correction. It's just because my directional gyro is out of sync. All right. Level at 2, waiting for coil, guys. Waiting for coil, nothing we can do at this point. What we're going to do is once we get to coil here, guys, we're going to fly what radial outbound to Soide? What radial outbound to Soide are we going to fly? .260, that's correct. 260, and what radial is going to indicate to me that I'm at Soide? The 169. The 169 off of coil or the 169 off of McGuire? Correct. Good. So at this point, guys, as you can see on the moving map here, which is a little bit of a cheat, you can see we're approaching coil. And this time I can't cheat and look outside to see where coil is, right? So I'm going to have to just trust my instruments and my navigation. Reset that timer as well. See that we just went through the radio a little bit there. Tux, this is Navigraph. It's a paid subscription service for IFR charts and mapping. It's really good for simulator pilots. So you guys are seeing that I'm sort of chasing the radial a little bit. What does that usually indicate when the radial is becoming super sensitive, guys? What does that tell you? Who knows what that tells you? Close, that's correct. You're getting closer. In fact, see how it just pinned? Where are we, guys? We're right over the station. So at this point, guys, I know I'm over the station. Immediately going to turn to a 260 heading. Here it comes. I'm going to adjust to a 260 radial. Good. I'm going to overshoot it just a little bit to make sure that it comes in, which it is. You guys can see that's coming in now. I'm overshooting it by about 10 degrees to ensure that I intercept the radial. And as you can see, I'm starting to come in there very nicely. I'm going to turn left just so I do not overshoot it. And perfect. Now, at this point, I'm waiting for the McGuire VOR to tell me, hey, Joe, 169. Anyone see what's wrong here? I don't have the 169 tuned. Make sure that you tune it, guys. Very important, otherwise it's not going to center. That's the 169. You guys can see I'm coming in here. It's coming in. Thank you for the follow, Pool.
You have clearance, Clarence.
It's coming in. It's coming in. We're almost there. I'm looking at my instruments. I'm looking at where I am. I can see I'm roughly there. Slightly left of the radial, but that's okay. We want 30 degrees off 260, so we're now going to turn to a 290, right, guys? 290. We know that with the wind correction the last time it was 1 minute and 30 seconds inbound, so we're going to start the timer again. We're going to fly this heading. Now, what do we need to do, guys? What is our next radial we need to tune this to? Because we're just on a heading right now. We don't care. We now need what radial inbound to know that we're in the turn properly, tracking back to coil. What radial do we need? Anybody? '80, correct. The 80 radial, 080 radial inbound, back to coil. So I have that tuned. The 080, it's right here, guys. Because we're on the outbound turn and we're going to be turning inbound this way. And to track that, it's 080 off of coil. So at this point, we're at about a minute. We'll start our left turn to a 080 heading. Now, granted, this plane, when the autopilot's on, it's not going to make the full turn properly, like at a normal bank angle. Like more, I would have more of a turn in this. That's all right. We'll just do. We're going to overshoot it slightly because I know we're going to go through the room. Now, we're in the left turn, guys. We're in the left turn, and we're going to keep this set to 169. The reason is 169 is telling us we're at Soidi again, guys. We're at Soidi again. We want to keep that telling us. We have the 080 tuned, so we know that we're tracking the radial inbound. You can see that we're flying through it. We're going to go right through this in the turn here. We're going to keep flying it. We'll go right through it, and then we'll readjust. Tani, welcome. So we'll readjust once we're through it. It's not going to be any issue, guys. You guys will see. Now, I immediately have iZerf. Thank you for the follow. Now, I already have ready to go the ILS frequency of 109.9. We're not going to switch that yet because we need to be at Soidi to do that. We're not at Soidi yet. We need this to center and tell me I'm at Soidi. I'm not there yet. But we can see the radial is centering. Let's adjust ourselves so we don't blow through it again, which it looks like we may slightly do this time. Maybe not. Slightly. Just a minor correction. So, we're coming in. Here comes the radial, guys. When this radial centers, we immediately turn left to a 063 heading. Again, this is all under the assumption zero wind correction. This is a calm wind kind of day, which you will never get in aviation. You're never going to get winds aloft that are zero. And you're going to always have to account for that. You guys can see that my inbound was like 2 minutes, so I also don't have the power, right? That's all right. All right, stop that timer. And we're almost here at Soidi, guys. When this centers, it indicates I'm at Soidi. You guys can see I'm almost at Soidi. I'm tracking the 080, Soidi. There we go. We are at Soidi. Immediately left turn. 063. Switch this now to the localizer frequency. Change the inbound course to 063, which is the ILS course. We can see we've gone through it. We're currently right of the course. This solid bar is the course. We need to turn further left to re-intercept it. At this point, we have crossed over Soidi. Soidi is no longer a factor. We can go down to Zomev, 1,600 feet. We need to change the Maguire VOR to 141 to indicate Zomev. We're going to tune this to 141. Boom. Set. We're going to start our altitude descent. We're just going to let the autopilot do it because I'm lazy. We're going to go down to 1,600 feet, guys. There it comes. Here's the localizer. Let's make sure that we don't blow through it too far. There we go. We're adjusting. Beautiful. Coming down. Looking good. Everything looking great. Yeah, so you should be, runway should be visible at the minimums, which are 331 feet mean sea level. And you'll see what that looks like. Exactly, the radial, the cross-intercepted radial to tell me exactly where I am. $1,600, guys, stop, altitude. Gotta adjust. Again, guys, I usually would hand fly this, but just because I'm teaching, I'm trying to make it easier on myself, less of a workload. And there we go, altitude, good. Now, we need to maintain 1,600 feet until Zomev, and then at that point, we follow the glide slope down. And our minimum's 331 feet. We need to see the runway. So right now, we're right of course. This is the course, we're right of it. We need to turn left a little more. Nothing too fancy. Guys, still nothing. I'm not seeing anything. No runway, nothing to cheat on. I keep my eyes in the cockpit. Waiting for this 141 radial to come in. You can see it's starting to move. We're getting closer. Guys, we are perfectly centered on the course, and our moving map indicates we're centered on the course. We can also identify we're at Zomev using the outer marker, which is a loud tone you can actually hear. But it's not working for me probably because I have nav one off. There we go. Marker mute, that's fine. Okay. So we're going through it, guys. We need to adjust. Let's be careful. Glide slope is alive, guys. Looks like the 141 radial off of McGuire, indicating Zomev is coming in. It's coming in nicely. We're looking good. Yeah, you would fly the missed approach procedure, which is on the plate. All right, we can see the glide slope. The marker is here. It's just not beeping, probably because I have the volume turned down or something. Perfect. We know that we're there. We're slightly left of course. The glide slope's alive. We're going to go autopilot off. And we are going to start our flight in. Nose down, power out a little bit. Follow the glide slope. We're above glide slope, guys. You guys can see. A little too much power. Ooh, Jesus. There's the glide slope, but we're losing the localizer. We need to turn back. Make sure we do not lose that localizer. See, these are very, very dramatic turns. Not necessary, guys. Very dramatic turns like that are not going to help anybody. You should not be flying it like I'm flying it right now. And I'm only doing it so I can sort of just try to stay roughly appropriate to what I need to do. All right, we're below glide slope. Pitch up a little bit. There's the glide slope. Just keep adjusting, guys. Keep adjusting as you need to. First notch of flaps. We're below glide slope right now. Be very careful, guys, when you're flying. Make sure that you're following the approach. You can see how difficult it is at first. But you're going to keep flying it. Keep flying the airplane. We're below glide slope. I am terrible with the joystick, man. Holy crap. We're looking for 331, guys. We're 200 to minimums. We're looking outside. No runway yet. Still flying. Yee. There's the lead-in lights. I got the runway in sight. We're landing. Perfectly on glide path. 2 red, 2 white. Flaps full. Yeah, it definitely increases the difficulty. Blue Princess, how you doing? So, guys, that is how you fly ILS approaches. Blue Princess, I haven't seen you in a while. How's everything? Why are there 2 people in orange? Because I was doing some tweaking to this airport file and forgot to take them off the runway. They're just saying hi. I gotcha. So essentially, guys, what we just did is we flew the ILS approach to runway 6 into Ocean County, right? Now, someone asked what would happen if you don't get the approach by the time you hit minimums. So if you didn't get the approach by the time you hit minimums, which are right here, 331 feet, we got it at about 500 feet. We would then have to fly what's called the missed approach procedure, which is indicated right here. So climb to 600 feet, which is a straight out climb to 600. And then you're going to start a climbing right turn to 1900 feet, direct to coil VOR. Then you're going to depart the coil VOR on the 26 radial outbound to Soidi and hold. So we would enter the hold like we did before, but this time instead of shooting the approach directly back in, we would stay in the hold, 1 minute inbound. And we'd just stay here till we advised ATC of our intentions or anything else. So that's essentially how you fly an ILS approach, guys. Oh, was he really? I got to catch up with you and find out. Yeah, I definitely got to catch up with you. So, I hope this lesson was helpful for everyone here. ILS approaches, a lot of people, they just put the autopilot on and let it fly. That's how you actually fly a full ILS procedure. And again, we're in a 172 here. So you can see that's how the instruments work. That's how you're constantly navigating. But you can see there's a lot to do. No idea anything. All good. So, yeah, guys. A lot of people just throw on the autopilot and let it fly. But now you guys actually see how you don't have to use the GPS of the autopilot to fly the approach, and how using cross radials to reference your current position, how to actually fly the entire procedure properly is done when you need to fly an ILS. Again, guys, the intense turns I was making wasn't because that's how you do it. It's because I didn't want it to go beyond 2 dots, because then I would have had to go around, because it's become a non-stable approach. When you're flying with a joystick, it's a lot more difficult than flying midair. I do, Tux. Right below, you can see the link. Digital Engineer, the YouTube link right over there. Down, Joe. Down. There, right over there. No, this is X-Plane, Skipper. So yeah, guys, I hope this lesson was helpful to everybody. I'll be throwing it on my YouTube so you guys can watch it back, of course. This was supposed to be just a nice and short stream, just get you guys sort of integrated into what's going on when you're flying ILS approaches and all that fun stuff. So at this point, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to send you over to another flight sim streamer. Tux, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm going to send you over to my buddy, my secret lover, you could say. Be sure to give him some love, guys. Again, this will be on the YouTube channel by tomorrow. We're going to send you over to Sheed. Sheed is a Boston center controller on VATSIM, and hopefully POSCON soon. Yeah, at this point, I'll send you over to him, give him some love, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.